I've been doing commissions for a very long time now, and while I don't necessarily talk about it very much because it doesn't seem super relevant to the rest of my content, with the rise of how many artists are being replaced in the industry due to robots that pretend they can paint, I feel like doing commissions is going to become a very important additional stream of income for a lot of artists moving forward. However, it is not always as easy as it seems on paper. The perfect client is not just going to land in your lap and stay perfect through the entire commission process. Being a commission artist as a regular gig is hard work and requires you to set some very clear, unflinching boundaries, and ultimately requires you to be a confident, persistent freelancer. In this video, I want to share with you 5 very important lessons that I learned through doing commissions. Some of these a little too late, but I promise you these will help you save a lot of time and money, mostly in terms of wasted effort. I've had excellent clients and I've had terrible clients and I've had everything in between. I've been severely underpaid before and I've put in hours of unpaid labor into commissions. So through this video, I'm hoping that none of you guys ever has to go through any of that. If you enjoyed this video and learned something today, please do remember to give it a big thumbs up and leave me a comment below telling me whether you do commissions and what your client stories are. Also, come say hello on Instagram, Discord, and Kara. All the links are down below. Alrighty, you guys, let's dive into the 5 tough lessons that I've learned through several years of doing art commissions. Alright, so the first and 100% the most important thing about doing commissions is how much you're going to charge and for what sort of painting. I've actually seen a fair bit of discussion on our Discord server about how much artists should be charging for commissions, how you arrive at a number, what is a fair price, etc. Well, step 1 is to understand that a fair price needs to be fair to you as much as it is fair to a potential client. A lot of us are afraid that our clients are just looking for the cheapest art possible, but over the last couple of years, as I've followed more and more artists who sell original work, I've come to realize that that's not necessarily true. It depends on the type of client you want to attract, and there is no right or wrong here. It's just about your own painting process. If you're someone with a very fast turnaround time, say it only takes you a couple of days to be done with a painting and be eager to move on to the next one, a lower price point might help you attract large volumes of clients who are looking for quicker paintings. This is the perfect solution if you get bored of large paintings or just complex compositions that take weeks or months, because it allows you to run through a variety of projects quickly. However, if you like to take your time and only work on larger, complex pieces that take you, say, several weeks or months, your pricing needs to reflect that. In this case, you're not working for large volumes of clients, but rather you want clients that are eager to build a luxury art collection. So here, a fair price would be much higher. I find that the easiest way to come up with a price point is to decide on an hourly rate that feels right to you, given all the resources that go into your painting, and more importantly, how much your time is worth. Do you work traditionally or digitally? How much do supplies cost and how much have you invested into skills training? How many other clients are reaching out to you that you're having to reject or push back in favor of this specific painting? What is the average hourly wage for a different job that would require this amount of training and mental effort? How much would go into taxes? You need to take all of these things into consideration when deciding on an hourly rate and then multiply it with how many hours an average painting takes. Or if you can't be bothered with thinking so much, look up the yearly wage for an industry position that requires art at your level and divide that with how many commissions you can feasibly do in a year. However, once you have a commission price in mind, understand that that was the easy part. because now you have to do the hard work of actually enforcing these prices. I find that this is especially hard if you charge a smaller fee per painting, because then people tend to try to get the price as lower down as possible, though I suppose every artist has dealt with this issue. You'll find tons of people who will try to undercut your pricing using all sorts of tactics, and your challenge is to stay firm. My favorite mind game to play with myself when I'm in the initial stages with a potential client is to step out of artist mode and step into agent mode. I like to pretend that instead of trying to secure myself a client, I'm trying to secure a client for one of my best friends. Suddenly, the conversation in my mind shifts completely. Now, instead of trying to secure the client by any means possible, my focus is to do my artist friend justice and try to get her the best possible income. So the next time you have someone that tries to get your work for cheaper, or God forbid for free, try to act as if you're talking on behalf of your extremely proficient, hardworking best friend. Almost immediately, you'll find that you are no longer willing to settle for less than what you consider a fair price. I cannot stress this enough, but always have a contract. I don't care if you charge $1,000 or $5, make your client sign a contract. No, having an email or text agreement is not enough. Put it in a PDF, make sure they put their initials and date on it. It will honestly save you and your client the hassle of trying to figure out the terms of your agreement going forward. And make sure your contract spells everything out. There are tons of free templates for art contracts on the internet that you can then customize and modify. But here are a few things your contract should spell out in no uncertain terms. First, the actual deliverable in as much detail as possible. What is the subject matter? What medium will you work with? What is the finished size of the painting going to be? And if you work digitally, what resolution are you working with? Will you be shipping out the painting, or will you be sending it via email? Second, what are your payment terms? How much will the piece cost, and will you charge upfront or in installments? When will these installments be made, and through what medium? How will you provide confirmation that you have received payment? Number 3, how many progress shots will you provide as proof of work? How will you send this to them? You can always over-deliver on this and send more progress shots than is on the contract, but I find that clients tend to feel way more reassured when they can see that the painting that they're paying for is actually being worked on. And that's totally fair enough given how many scams are out there. Also, definitely include a time frame for the deliverables. How long will it take to finish the project, not including revision time? And that ties in with the next detail, which is how many rounds of revision you're willing to offer as part of your current price. Save all of this as a fillable PDF where your client can put in their initials and the date, and save this file somewhere that you won't accidentally delete it. Again, having a contract is non-negotiable. It keeps you and your client safe in case of a dispute. Okay, this is an interesting one because it might divide you guys into people who agree and people who don't. But one of my biggest lessons was to always get a 50% non-refundable deposit to start work. I think this is the thing for which I've got the most pushback from potential clients, because it may sound unfair for them to have to pay upfront for a painting that I haven't started working on yet. But if you think about any other type of contractual work, construction or web design or marketing, pretty much all business owners take a non-refundable deposit. This is to protect you as the seller from wasted labor if the client decides to back out of a contract last minute. You're investing time and effort into a project that is just as uncertain for you as it is for your client. It is only fair that they invest in it too. Plus, a lot of the time, bad clients will try to weasel their way out of payment by getting you to do all the work and then refusing to pay because it, quote, did not turn out right. So first of all, never share a non-watermarked version of the final painting until the final payment has hit your bank. And second, if they do not want to make the final payment, at least you have that 50% deposit to cover your material costs. Understand that your ideal client will happily pay the deposit because they truly do intend to see this painting come to life. But also understand that the not so ideal client will try to guilt you into letting the deposit slide. Do not do that, because I promise you, that is the type of client that will take your concept and progress shots and try to replicate it via a cheaper artist, or worse, via AI. Let me tell you about a mistake I made with the deposit situation. I had a long-term client whom I'd been working with for a couple of years. I'd even like to think we were friends, or at least friendly, after working together for over 2 years and sharing a vision for the fictional world that they were building. So I got lax with the contract because they preferred to pay 100% upfront. Until the last piece that we worked on, where even after several rounds of revision, we were simply not able to come to an agreement on how the painting should look, and communication fully broke down. By this point, nowhere in the contract had I mentioned the 50% non-refundable deposit, and despite having put like 40 hours of work into this one painting, this client asked for a full 100% refund. And because of my oversight with the paperwork, I had no choice but to refund the full amount, in spite of having done the equivalent of a full week of 8-hour shifts, but spread over several weeks. Don't do what I did. Be smarter. Get your deposit and make it non-refundable. This might actually come as a bit of a surprise, but when you do commissions, the place where you're likely going to lose a lot of money is when you do several rounds of unpaid revisions, especially when there is a clear painting brief from the client. Like I said earlier, make sure that your contract states how many rounds of revision are included in the sale price, though I like to mention that these revisions are on the finished painting. That said, however, sending your client as many progress shots as you're comfortable sending them might save you any revision time in the first place, because you can just make any changes as you go along the process. However, sometimes the client looks at the finished painting and has changes that they want to make, and that's normal, and that's where revisions come in. I always advise my clients that at this stage, we have 2 free rounds of revision, so they might want to take their time and make note of as many changes as they need and send those over to me as one large round of revision, rather than doing one little change at a time. However, once the 2 contracted rounds of revision are used up, I am not afraid to finish the piece there and start a new contract for a revised version. You can charge a smaller amount here if you like, since you're not starting from scratch, but do not do more free revisions than you promised. It just opens the door for your client to ask for an infinite number of changes at any time, and you'll probably never finish this project or get to move on to the next one. When you charge your clients for revisions, they're a lot more mindful of the changes that they want in a painting, because now there is actual monetary value attached to it. Saves you both a lot of time and effort, trust me on this. Now, here's the thing about doing commissions. You will have way more success with clients that approach you than with the clients that you approach. So a lot of us, my past self included, tend to work on getting commissions via job boards and commission listings. The thing is, loads of artists apply for these, and most of the time, the client is looking for high quality work as cheap as possible. In other words, they're not necessarily looking for your art, they're just looking for art in general. And that's great. If you manage to get work through these, that's amazing. But in my experience, literally none of the commissions that I've done have come through responding to artist wanted posts. So instead, I'll switch to focusing on building an audience. As an artist, you can only really thrive if you get your name out there, because when clients are the ones that approach you, 9 times out of 10, it's because they're specifically looking for your art. So in my opinion, a much better use of your time and energy is to focus on improving your craft and establishing a presence in the art community. Not only does this allow potential clients to notice you and your work, it also opens up even more income opportunities via things like brand collabs and affiliate income and all that good stuff. Is it hard work to build an online presence? Yes, especially in this day and age with how many people are working on it at the same time. But honestly, it is probably the best way to draw attention to your work and invite in clients that are just as passionate about it as you are. So, coming on to this painting, here's more progress on the Aquarius piece that we started working on last week. And oh my gosh, I love where this is going. I think a little more refinement, and frankly, this guy will likely be ready to go on the list of prints on my Patreon. What do you think? So what are some tips that helped you successfully complete a bunch of commissions? Or are you an artist who just doesn't do commissions anymore? Comment below and share your experience because I'm really curious to know. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and learned something today, please do remember to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because it really helps out so much. Of course, if you want to grab all the extra content that I put out every single week, including all of the speed paints from start to finish, all of my art in 8K quality, my custom brush kit, and also prints and merch every few months, you can grab all of that on my Patreon. I'll leave a link up here in the cards as well as down in the description. Your support on Patreon really allows me to keep making all this free content for YouTube, so thank you so much for taking a moment for checking it out. Also come say hello on Instagram, Discord and Kara, links to those are down in the description as well. Alrighty you guys, that's about everything for this video, so thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. If you're looking for a bunch of really helpful art advice that will change your painting life forever, you can check out this video in the outro that I wish I could travel back in time and show my younger self. There is a lot to learn there, so check it out down here and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!